some of the contests I had with a guy called George Kidd, who you possibly would have never heard of. George Kidd was a lightweight champion of the world and the best technical wrestler that I have ever met in my life. I mean, when I first started wrestling for the big time promotions in Britain, there were a lot of people from the Snake Pit, Billy Riley's gym in the Snake Pit in Wigan, and those guys were murderous. And if you couldn't take it, they wouldn't give it to you. You had to learn. You had to learn to do what I did, be one hell of a fighter, one hell of a wrestler. Otherwise, they'd cheer you up and they'd give you nothing. But as much as I learned from a lot of those wrestling, I'd be wrestling with a different one of those 3 or 4 times a week. Because I'll tell you now how many contests how many contests I averaged when I first started wrestling for the big time promotions. I was wrestling 40 times a month.
Wow.
I wrestled 40 times a month. We'd be doing doubles. I'd be wrestling on an afternoon show, diving into somebody's vehicle, and they'd be racing to the next to another show. They'd have tournaments and things like that where I might wrestle 3 or 4 times in the same arena on the same night. But I was averaging 40 matches, and they were so well organized, I could actually tell you what arena I was going to be in 18 or 20 months from now. They were actually running 4,500 shows a year. But anyway, like I say, with the result, I'm wrestling those Wiganers like nobody's business. But I had a war, more or less, with George Kidd. He really didn't like me over a misunderstanding when we knew each other first. And it ended up we had to wrestle each other, but we had such a bloody contest. We had such a great contest. George Kidd, who had a lot of pull, wanted to wrestle with me all over the place. And this guy could fight. He knew, so many dirty tricks, but what a fantastic wrestler. And he more or less took me under his wing. I learned some stuff from George. Now, I've always been a fighter. You read my books. I've always been a fighter from the time I was a kid. I don't care who you are. You can be bloody Cassius Clay and Sonny Liston at the same time. If you fight me, you're going to bleed. You can have your hands full no matter who you are. I'm not saying I could beat everybody in the world, but I tell you what, if it's a straight fight, there's not many people going to want to do it again. But an awful lot of what I've learned was from George Kidd. He was a lightweight champion of the world, the best technical wrestler, in my opinion, that ever set foot in the ring. I learned so much from George. I've got to say, there was a lot of really great wrestlers in Britain. John Cortez, Alan McKay. I could go on and on and on, the great wrestlers over there.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please like this video if you enjoyed it and click the subscribe button to not miss any of our latest shoot interviews, match videos,